The show is back, so you guessed it. That means there's more ads. I'm back here to sell you stuff, but it's not bad stuff. It's good stuff that I use myself and I love. The first thing is organic muscle health and fitness supplements. These supplements are the best, the cleanest, the most pure organic ingredients possible, sourced from eco-friendly farms right here in the USA. They've been third-party tested for heavy metals, all clear. Great products. You can read the reviews. The results speak for themselves. Organic Muscle is the first company dedicated to offering customers certified organic workout and fitness supplements. All of our herbs, superfoods, sprouts, and adaptogens are sourced from eco-friendly, sustainable, and certified organic farms. All of our products are blended and bottled in California and Texas. All of our products are certified organic, non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, chemical-free, hormone-free, and preservative-free. Free of all the crap that you don't want, full of all the stuff that you need. Organic products were formulated with the reverence of ancient humanity's vast wisdom of herbs and superfoods. Modern scientific research has validated what mankind has known for millennia. Fitness, vitality, and health all begin with proper nutrition. We have all kinds of awesome supplements. For the superfood blends, there's a greens that has all your green superfoods and herbs that you need. It's way better than juicing. It doesn't taste gross like that wheatgrass juice, but it has wheatgrass in it. It has the spirulina in it. It has all the good green stuff that's great for you, that tastes bad, in a supplement that makes it taste great. There's also the superfood reds. That's a great way to give yourself a midday energy boost. It has different things to help boost your blood flow, increase your metabolism, and just offer all around good energy without a crash. Then there's the superfood golds. It's great for recovery, relaxation, and just unwinding later in the evening. We also have protein supplements that are complete protein, that's plant-based, offers the same amino profile as whey without the dairy. There's also a new meal replacement product that has organic protein, superfoods, and greens all in one. It has everything you need for overall nutrition to supplement a meal, to replace one meal. Maybe you need to lose some weight. Replacing meal with a meal replacement shake is a great way to do so. And the newest, most favorite supplement we have from these guys is the Ultra Brain Boost. It's a natural nootropic product. It's chocolate flavor. Great. You can mix it in with the protein. You can drink it with water. You can drink it with some almond milk. Tastes great. Makes you feel great. Makes your brain function on all cylinders. It's just fantastic. The Replenisher is a great way to rehydrate, replenish those electrolytes you lose when you're working out, sweating when it's hot, without all the sugar like Gatorade has. Or if you get the 0-calorie ones, they have all the nasty artificial sweeteners. We don't got none of that crap. All organic, all natural, all great. Ultimate electrolyte replenisher. Tastes like watermelon. I love it. I drink 3 or 4 servings of it a day. It's one of my favorite things to drink. I think that wraps it up. And as always, you can save 15% with code Brando anytime you order any of those products. And if you order more, say you get one, there's one price for it. 3, you get a discounted price. 6, you get an even bigger discount. You can use my code on top of that to save even more. So the first time around, if you've never tried it, recommend getting one. But if you know you love it, why not get it in bulk and use my code and save the most money possible? It's a great way for you to make a savings and for you to feel better about making yourself feel better. Anyway, check them out. Love it like I do. Organicmuscle.com. Discount code Brando at checkout for 15% off. Thanks. So I've opened a brand new store for the SLIEK Podcast. You can either go to sliekpodcast.com and then on the landing page there, click the button that says SLIEK Podcast. That'll take you to the official SLIEK Podcast page. You scroll down and there's a button that says SLIEK Podcast Store. Click that button, it takes you to the shop. I have new merchandise there that's available. I don't make a whole lot of money on any of these products. Even if they seem marked up a little bit, it's because it costs me a decent amount to have it made and shipped out. I'm really just doing it mostly for advertising. So I just make like a few dollars off of any and all of these products on there. But there's things like backpacks, coffee mugs, phone cases, all kinds of stuff. Go check it out. And if you like the show, you want to try to help support me, keep me rolling, make it better, get better guests, get better production equipment, various things, go on there, buy a coffee mug, buy a t-shirt, something. Do whatever you can do to help the show out. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Keep listening. Thank you. Welcome to the show, everybody. So the original plan was to have a guest on the second episode. I'm now on Spotify. I'll be launching on Amazon Podcast real soon. I'm launching a separate podcast. I've already recorded one episode of that. That's the Organic Brando Show. This is a branch off of this podcast. And that one is going to focus specifically on health, fitness, organic lifestyle, those kind of things that we've covered on here before. But I'm branching it off. This is going to be its own separate show now to discuss those topics, whereas on here we're going to discuss everything else from, psychedelics to conspiracies to aliens to current news events to anything and everything that encompasses this strange thing we called life. So it could be anything, no holds barred there on this podcast. So with that in mind, I'm going to get into some of the strange news updates. I like to do that on this show, and it's been quite a while because the last season was back in 2018, I believe, so it's been about 2 years since we have had a new season of the show, and I've been doing episodes regularly, and I have a few news updates over that period of time that I'm going to go over. So the first few here are a lot older. I'm going to give you the dates when they were published, but I just thought it was significant information that we need to talk about here on the show, and that I'll probably mention in later episodes because it's involving topics that we're going to feature on this podcast. So the first thing is for all the way back from June of 2019, and a lot of states have been legalizing marijuana. I mentioned this briefly on the last episode of the show. And here in Michigan specifically, we've got recreational marijuana not that long ago, but other states that have had it longer, Nevada being one of them, are moving ahead. Well, I don't know how many besides Nevada. Nevada was the first one to do this. And anyway, I'm going to get to what the article talks about. Nevada becomes the first state to ban most pre-employment pot tests. So to get a job in Nevada, you're no longer tested for marijuana. That's not one of the drugs that is on the banned substance list when you're hiring into a place and they do a pre-drug screening before they hire you. And if the state has it recreational, if the people voted on it and put recreational marijuana through, they shouldn't be drug testing anyone for that to get a job. You're not testing people's blood alcohol levels when they come in. I mean, if there was a way to test it if you're high at the time, that's understandable. Like a breathalyzer. I know they have different things out there, like an oral swab, and they're trying to make something like a breathalyzer for testing marijuana. If there was something like that, I'm not necessarily against it. Like coming in on site at work, I don't think people should be high, especially if you're operating heavy machinery. But you shouldn't be drunk either, and people aren't getting their blood alcohol levels tested in order to get a job or to keep a job or when they get hurt or anything. So you shouldn't be testing for marijuana anymore if you're in a state where it's been passed recreationally. And yeah, the federal law this, the federal law that. But even someone who's really a proponent of the Constitution will tell you, like, the state should figure out most things themselves first, and then you need the federal government for certain things like the military, for a currency. There's definitely things where we need the federal government to provide a service or a good or whatever have you it is, to the people. But in most cases, the states should be able to do that on their own. So Nevada took a big step forward. This was back in 2019, like I said, to become the first state to ban most pre-employment pot tests. And it's crazy. This article said, even as 11 states plus Washington, D.C. have legalized recreational cannabis, lawmakers have struggled to find consensus on the question of whether employers could reject an applicant over their pot use. That just seems ridiculous to me. Oh, he's a pothead. We don't want him working here. Just get over it. It's 2020 now. We're moving forward. There's bigger things to worry about. In the states that it has been legalized, the opioid use is down. Opioids kill all kinds of people every year. Marijuana does not. It's definitely better for people. The next article I have on here: scientists use stem cells from frogs to build first living robots. And this was from January of this year, January 2020. And this is crazy. It comes from The Guardian is where I have this linked up to. But researchers foresee a bunch of benefits for humanity, but also acknowledge ethical issues of this because they're creating like living creatures. They're using stem cells to create what they're calling robots here because they can program them to do certain things. But there's definitely going to be ethical questions on this because you're almost playing God in a fucking miniature level here. It's crazy. Hang on, let me skim through here. Researchers in the U.S. have created the first living machines by assembling cells from African clawed frogs into tiny robots that move around under their own steam. It just sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. You can't even really make this kind of shit up. It's crazy to me. One of the most successful creations has two stumpy legs that propel it along on its chest that they have in quotations because it's not really a chest. I don't even know what you call the parts of these things. Another has a hole in the middle that researchers turned into a pouch so it could shimmy around with miniature payloads. So like these little mini living robot creatures, living robots, they can program them to do certain things and carry even little miniature. I wanted to say microscopic, but it's not really microscopic. Miniature payloads. This is just crazy. These are entirely new life forms. They have never before existed on Earth. They are living, programmable organisms. These are quotes here from the director of Allen Discovery Center at Tufts University in Massachusetts there. That's the people who are leading this. This is insane to me. It blows my mind. I don't know if it was around a lot on the mainstream media or not, but it's definitely something to be looking into. And I'm going to put the links up to all this stuff up at the SLIEK podcast website, the Strangest Life I've Ever Known podcast. You can go to sliekmedia.com, click on the SLIEK podcast button, and it'll take you to the official page. I'll put all the news updates and various links to things that I talk about on the show right on there. And there's a shop spot on that site so you can go buy some SLIEK podcast merchandise and help support the show if you'd like. First ever lab-grown heart tissue transplant successfully carried out in Japan. So they're lab-growing human tissues like hearts now, and they're able to transplant them into people, well, at least in Japan. It's kind of crazy. That was January 29th, 2020. January of this year. Just the idea of being able to grow organs and tissues and things is just... we live in the future. This is the sci-fi world we live in. I'm starting to believe it. First ever of its kind surgery was carried out on the patient this month, which was in January of 2019. Researchers announced that at a news conference on Monday, according to Japanese news agency. Blah, blah, blah. They used a kind of master cell that can be turned into any cell type. Pluripotent stem cells, IPS, is what was used to create this. Crazy stuff in the field of stem cells and the regenerative methods of making organs, and even 3D printing. I think they've 3D printed heart tissues or valves, at least, or different things. So like in the world of 3D printing, it's even getting to where they're going to be able to create organs in labs and with 3D printers. We really live in like some kind of a futuristic sci-fi movie, something that you would just think was fiction. But fiction and reality, the lines between the two are blurring more and more all the time. And if 2020's taught us anything, that's exactly what it is. And recently, people have begun to wonder if there is actual life on Venus. That's been big news from NASA and different scientific publications because there is a type of gas, I guess, in the atmosphere, I believe, that they found that thinks it could possibly be a link to life. So they want to send a mission there of some sort of rover or something, I believe, some sort of maybe just a satellite to send there and get a little bit more information. It's been quite a while since they got any data on that, but this article I'm going to link up to the site talks about what an astrobiology mission could look like at Venus because of the new discoveries. So they go in depth and they talk about what they should do to research this even further, and the debates going back to Venus. There was a satellite orbiter launched in 2010, and then there was a second attempt in 2015 from various agencies here, I believe through Japan. But it's time. We're getting into space more and more. We have a space force now. Like I said, we're living in the future, and every futuristic movie you can think of, it involves with the human race becoming an interplanetary species. We need to expand into the space and see what's out there, where we can go if there's other life. I'm all for all that and the exploration of it. I'm a big proponent of all that kind of stuff. I like NASA. I don't really like the origins and the people who kind of founded it. That might be a different show later, because Wernher von Braun was not that great of a person, but without him we wouldn't have had the rockets to get to the moon. Still doesn't change what he did in his work with the Nazis. So that might be a whole different episode in itself on the show at some point. And then with the news of Venus, so a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily strange. Well, the stem cell robot things, that's fucking strange. I don't give a shit who you are. All the stuff we're talking about is strange. But this one might be the strangest, because with the news of Venus, Russia has officially declared it as a Russian planet. I didn't even know countries could claim planets. But this actually came from CNN, so who knows? Maybe it's fake news. Just kidding. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if you love CNN. But no longer confined to territories here on Earth, Russia has now staked its claim on Venus, saying it's a Russian planet. Just crazy nonsense. 2020 is crazy all the time. There's always some headline that you're like, what in the world? Just when you think it couldn't get any crazier. We had murder hornets. We had, one of the articles I saw was a band of herpes-ridden monkeys were taking over parts of Florida or something. They're just all over. Like, you don't even know anymore. The stuff doesn't even surprise me, really. You just go, oh my God, yes, we live in a crazy world, and it just keeps getting crazier. Also in planetary news, a giant survivor planet found orbiting a dead star. Typically, when a star becomes a white dwarf, that's after it has died. It goes through a process where it becomes a red giant, and then it shrinks down to a white dwarf. And during that period, usually the planets orbiting it are destroyed, I guess, or they typically don't survive this event. So they found a white dwarf star with this planet orbiting it. It's still intact. It's kind of cool. They thought up until now that when that happens, a planet can't sustain itself, and it can't handle the transformation there from a red giant to a white dwarf star. So it's pretty interesting just to kind of go check that out. We're learning more and more stuff about space all the time. This planet that is orbiting the white dwarf is a Jupiter-sized planet, so it's pretty big in terms of size, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's like of the biggest sizes of planets. I'm not too big into all this kind of stuff, but it is interesting. I've always thought it was super interesting. So here you go. That's another news article I'll link up on the website there. And last one also has to do with planets. Planets in deep space could be made of diamonds, research suggests. This comes from Fox News. The research suggests that these carbon-rich planets could have, under the right conditions, such as water and heat and pressure could turn carbon into diamonds. So these planets could be made of literal diamonds on the inside of them. And we know that these certain materials are essential to be most planets have to have these materials to form and to maintain their structure and such. So it's kind of cool theory to look at here, and it goes into depth, and it talks about how that could be a possibility that these planets could really be made up of diamonds. The carbon that was under pressure and heat and water, and it converted it over a long period of time, and now it's a literal diamond planet, a rock made of diamonds floating around in space. We really live in a sci-fi movie. Like I said, this is just the craziest stuff. It never ends anymore. All right, so that's the strange news. I was going to have a guest on here. I want to get more guests on now that we're doing a new season. That's going to be a big thing that I'm trying to do. And my first guest on the new season, on the new platforms, I wanted to be my oldest and best friend. Not that he's old, but he's been my friend the longest. We were friends in elementary school, and we've just stayed close over the years. He was the best man at my wedding and things. And he's not like famous or super popular, but we always have interesting conversations. He's a artist, musician, and he's done all kinds of things for a living. His name is Jake, and he's a Jake of all trades. He's a little thing that he says, and it's a true story because he's a carpenter. He's repaired sailboats. He's worked on all kinds of things. When we get him on the show, he can tell you probably a dozen more things that I'm not mentioning, but we always have a real interesting, in-depth conversation on all kinds of things. So I wanted to get him on, maybe share his music. He's got some stuff on SoundCloud, put up links to that, and give him an interview, introduce him to you guys, the audience here, the Sleek Podcast, and just kind of get his name out there a little bit and see if you guys like the kind of music he creates, which he's a phenomenal guitar player. I've always thought that, and the entire time I've known him, ever since we were young kids, he was great, and he's just only gotten better over the years. But it's just, I'd like to see him do a little more with it. I'd like to see him go somewhere with it. And I told him I want to record an EP, and maybe we'll get it up on iTunes and Spotify and get it out there. So when the new studio's set up, I'm not only going to use it for podcasting, but I'm going to try to maybe get some local artists recorded and get them up in various locations like iTunes and Spotify, and get them out there so people can listen to them and see their work. And I just want to, when my friends are passionate about something and they're good at it, I want to see them turn it into a career, because I really believe that if you have a career with something that you're passionate about, you never feel like you're working a day in your life. And that's what I dream for everyone. Even people I don't like, I wish they could do that. It's just something that I think is essential to having a joyful life and not getting depressed and drugged down and going to a place that you don't want to be every day for at least 8 hours just to maintain a living to provide for your family is pretty stressful and hard for most people. So he will be on a different day. Hopefully sometime this week we'll get him on here to record. In the meantime, I'm going to just update you guys on my new business, and that's the SLIEK Media company. And what we do at SLIEK Media, first off, SLIEK, of course, that came from the podcast. SLIEK Media is a branch off of the podcast, but now it's become a parent company of everything that I do. SLIEK comes from the strangest life I've ever known. It's abbreviation for that. And that's a quote that has spoke volumes to me for years and years and years. It's been my favorite quote for as long as I can remember. And I embrace it and use it in everything I do. So, SLIEK Media, that's SLIEK for SLIEK Media. You can find us on Facebook. Just go to sliekmedia.com, click on the services there. You can see what we do. We do website creation and maintenance. I run my personal website, organicbrando.com. I created, designed it, maintained it. I also run the SLIEK Media website, designed, created, maintained that. No Wimps Arm Wrestling, designed, created, maintained that. I've done a site for local massage therapist. There's all kinds of things. You can, under projects, when you go to sliekmedia.com, there's a navigation bar at the top. Click on projects. You can see the websites and the different things I've done for clients. I also do a videography service where I'll make ads for your business or what event or whatever you have, whatever you want a promotional ad of. I can do those 30-second, 60-second videos there. Content creation for such as blog articles, product blurbs, social media posts. I've created ebooks, an ebook for Organic Muscle, the Organic Food Guide that's available on the Apple Bookstore, available at organicmuscle.com, organicbrando.com. I think that's it. We're getting it on Amazon, I do believe. So that should be on there before too long. I do some graphic designs such as logos. I've made all the logos for all my podcasts and the various pages I have. Business cards, posters, flyers, that sort of thing. I do podcast creation and maintenance, obviously, because I have this podcast and I have the Organic Brando Show. We're going to be launching a No Wimps arm wrestling podcast, which will probably be called No Wimps Radio. That's going to be coming soon. So SLIEK Media will have 3 podcasts under its distribution, and they'll all be available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, pretty much anywhere and everywhere you go to listen to a podcast, it'll be there. Honestly, I prefer Spotify over everything else. iTunes has always been good to me over the years. I love Apple stuff, and it's great, but I think Spotify has really done an amazing job with their app and their service, their streaming service there, and now they're really getting into podcasts, expanding the podcast. Everybody's getting into podcasts. iHeartRadio is big. Amazon Podcast is getting ready to launch, and just everyone's getting into it because people crave knowledge, good conversation, to the sharing of ideas. I don't know what it is, but it's there's a lot more people out there seeking that versus your typical little blurbs and little highlights of things you see on the news that flash by and you're told what to think, a different thing. You know, they want more in-depth conversation on topics, and that's great. That's something that I don't think a lot of people expected, the popularity of long-form conversations on podcasts and things along those lines. It just seems like people's attention spans are getting shorter with everything we do, since we've had mobile phones specific and the smartphones and the ability to get on social media with them. It seems our attention's always gone, and you can only listen to somebody for a few seconds before you're flipping on your phone or your mind's somewhere else. And just that is almost a programming in a way. Social media programs us to not always be there. Our mind's not always there 100%. We're always thinking about something else, or our attention is very short, and then we're back to other things that you're not talking about at the time. So those are the services we now provide through SLIEK Media, and I'm only continuing to grow with that company. We're going to provide more services, and I'll have more businesses that I work with under the projects tab there up on the navigation bar when you go to sliekmedia.com. The companies I work with, anytime I do anything with them, I'll keep that updated with the latest content from them that I've done, just to expand my portfolio on there, so you guys get a little bit of a better idea what I do, what I can provide for you. But the goal is to have several podcasts under the SLIEK Media brand, and I can upload those to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, like I said, anywhere and everywhere people listen to podcasts. That service will be available on there soon. I believe it's going to be about $10 a month, and for that price, what you're going to do is you subscribe through the website, obviously. I'm going to need information on what you want your show to be called, your show or AKA podcast, whatever. The name of that, description on what it's going to be about, a little bit about you, who you are, idea for album cover art. I can create that too, or if you have something that you would like to use in particular, that's easy, no problem. If I create it, there will probably be a small one-time fee for the creation of that. I don't have an exact price on that yet, but if you're wanting to look into doing a podcast and have me produce it for you and distribute it to these streaming services, then we can go about that, and I'll discuss it with you and give you a price on that with more information. But so for the basic price, $10 a month. That doesn't include the additional album art if you want that designed and things. But essentially, you will record your audio, and on most smartphones, you even have a voice memo app. Just record your show. To be more professional, you should have an actual microphone and maybe plugged into a computer and recording, but you can get decent microphones that plug right into your smartphone anymore nowadays too. So whatever you do to record the audio, that's up to you. Send it to me, and then I just take that, I edit it up with some intro music and outro music at the beginning and end of your show. That's something else that we'll have to communicate on to figure out what you want to use for your music in the beginning and end. There's a great website that has a lot of royalty-free music that's free to download, free to use, and I usually go through there, try to find some decent audio, and I clip the beginning and the end of it, use it for the different shows. So I'll send, when you subscribe to whatever service you want, if you want the basic one or the more advanced, you'll get a form to get some information from you and a redirect link to that website where you can pick the music. You'll let me know which audio file you want to use, and we'll go from there. I'll do the editing of that, get it put in to your podcast, and if you have any ads for companies that are sponsoring you or your show, we'll have you record those separately, and I'll add them in later on after you record your episodes. You can record your ads after the fact, and then I can put them in the beginning or wherever you want, and we'll distribute it that way. For the more advanced subscription offer, you'll be able to just call in. You can call me through my phone number, and when it comes up on the computer, I record the audio. Then we do all the other stuff that I mentioned with the intro, outro music, the various ads, that sort of thing. But you can literally just call me up. I'll record it. We can be on there together if you'd like. If you just want your show by yourself, you just call and you're having a phone call with yourself, I guess, and I'll record the audio for you that way. But we can have other people call in too. I can set that all up if you want a guest to call in and record you guys having a conversation about a topic and go from there. But that feature is going to be more advanced. It's going to be around $15-$20 a month instead of the $10. There's going to be more options with that also, and the cover art will be included, and it has a few more things that are included in that you won't be charged additionally for, whereas the basic subscription offer, if you wanted to do that and get the cover art and various features later, it'll be extra. So trying to help people get podcasts going and spread their knowledge of whatever topics they want to talk about and whatever professions they're in and things they want to share with the world. And just, it's a great platform. It's a great idea to be able to spread thoughts and communicate with others. You can reach so many people through these things. It's insane the amount of reach you get and the response, the feedback, just the experience of it all. It's a great thing. It's something that I don't think that when it was originally created that they had any idea what it was going to become. That guy, Adam Curry, a.k.a. the Podfather, the original podcaster, he's been on Joe Rogan's show various times with interviews that have been great, and I really don't think he or anyone else who was involved in the very first podcast really knew what they were going to turn into. People like Joe Rogan getting paid over $100 million by Spotify to move over to that platform. Just insane stuff like that. I don't think anyone expected it. The kind of reach he gets with people, the influence he has, like, this was not anticipated in any way. And it just shows you what things can evolve and shape into. Any form of communication, as far as phones, when telephones were first invented, the internet, anything, the printing press even, you want to go back so far, it shapes the way society is and changes things. And I think we're starting to see that what the internet has done has really become known in these later years here, since we've had it for a while, and podcasting is among those things. So that we're really getting to see right now what it's becoming and what it can become, and the real potential for it. I think it's going to go even farther. And most of your typical talk shows that you see on network television, I think that kind of thing is going to come to pass, because you got to go through a bunch of corporate executives to do anything. You got to watch what you say. It becomes more of a literal show, like you're putting on a show. It's not a natural, organic feel. I think that's what a lot of people appreciate about a lot of podcasts too, is it's a more natural conversation. It doesn't seem like it's that put together. They're not putting on a show. They're not being something that they're not. It's more genuine, more real. I think a lot of people embrace that, and they love that, and can't get enough of it. So that's what I'm trying to do with this new company I'm starting, and hopefully it really takes off. I haven't really been promoting it that well. I decided, hey, first time to promote it, what better way than do an episode on the podcast? So here we are. Like I said, I wanted a guest. I don't have the guest yet. Hopefully some point this week I will have Jake Hyder on here. And we will maybe play a little bit of his music and talk about all kinds of wild things. We've been friends for years and years and years, and we got some stories to tell, wild tales, but that is for a different day. So thanks for listening, guys. Check out the SLIEK Media website, www.sliekmedia.com. SLIEK is SLIEK. You can click on the SLIEK Services button or the SLIEK Podcast button on the cover page there. SLIEK Services will take you into more detail about the other projects and other services that I provide. The SLIEK Podcast button will take you to the page for this show, so you can see the full show archive there, listen to the latest episodes. There's our sponsors, different deals from our sponsors available on there, so you can go shop that, check that out. That's what keeps the show going. The SLIEK Podcast store is available there. There's a donation button if you don't even want, you might as well buy something, so go to the SLIEK store. But if you really love the show, you want to support it, you don't even want a t-shirt or anything, then go ahead and hit the donate button. We'll take $5, whatever you got that you want to donate. We really appreciate it. I'm going to be putting together a new studio, like I said, so I want to get at least another microphone, get some more equipment, maybe have it set up really legit in here, get a couple different camera angles going, and really make this an awesome production. And we'll just see where we can go for there. So thank you, appreciate your support. Check those websites out. Until the next time, we'll see you later.